Hello guys, I hope you're doing well. Today I got a different kind of video for you. It will be a review slash reaction video of a game that a member of this channel have made. Not only that, it's also a game that is based upon my last tutorials, the tower defense game and also the platformer. So this will be interesting to see how it holds up. The creator of this game is Tread on Discord, and I will not only play the game, but I will also dive into the code to see what is going on there. Maybe there's something that can be improved or otherwise changed. We'll see, this is gonna be interesting. So in other words, this will be a reflection on me, because the game is based on my tutorials and also on my code, obviously. So this is gonna be really interesting. Let's dive into it. Don't forget, this channel have a dedicated Discord server. It's a place where you can talk about the episodes and tutorials of this channel. Maybe you wonder something about the last episode that was a bit unclear. Or maybe you just want to say hello. And for those who wish to go the extra mile to support the channel, there's a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page, and also there's a membership option here on YouTube. Thank you. I will go into this game completely blind, more or less. I haven't played it and I haven't looked at the code. I did download a previous version, because I can see that he uploaded some changes at least 5 hours ago. All I did was just see if it ran, and that's it. So let's go ahead and download this and check what's going on. So I can go to code here, we can download zip, put it on the desktop, save. I think that's done, there we go. Let's extract. And now let's open Eclipse I have here. Import. Projects, yes. Directory. Desktop. And there's the folder. Open. Finish. And there we go. I do know that I need to make this rest folder a resource folder. Otherwise it's going to give errors. So let's run and see what happens. Alright, so it's working. We got FPS and UPS ticking. We got 120 FPS and 60 UPS. First impression, let's see. Yeah, you can press. There is a press action. That's good. But there is no mouse over. That would have been cool. But let's see if we can play this. So, new game. No maps to play on. Please create a map to start a new game. Okay, so I need to... Oh, tutorial. So I need to create a map. There's no default one. Alright, tutorial. These are your crops. Plant them to defend your farm against enemies. Okay, so we got menus here. Alright. I guess this is the money. Seed, maybe? Seeds, perhaps? Next. Crops cost seeds to plant. Yeah, these are a seed bag in your life counter. Yeah, alright. Earn seeds by killing enemies. Basic stuff for tower defense. Different enemies, different rewards, amount of seeds. If an enemy reaches the end of the path, you lose a life. Yeah, basic tower defense. We can see that the background here, it's not a solid color, a square, and just round corners. We have some dents, if you will. Makes it look a little bit more unique than just a blank square or a square with just one color in it. It looks nice. And then we have harvest, upgrade, 2 upgrades. You can upgrade damage and range, I assume. That's why you have 2 different ones. Yeah, that says so there. Duh. And different types. Okay, cool. Kill every enemy in every wave and you win. Run out of lives and you lose. Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's go. Main menu. Alright, so let's create a map. Maybe this will take some time. Edit map. Main menu tutorial. Create a new map. Karin's map. So we have a very, from start to finish, alright, road. That's cool. So it automatically detects the road next to it. That's cool. Wonder if they can now... alright, that's cool. That's a little bit more advanced than I had in my tower defense, so that's really cool. And let's just make a simple... It can walk like this. And then let's just like so. Put some water here. And we got animation going. Some simple animation, yeah, but it's, yeah, that's good. and you can drag. Perfect. Yeah, that looks fine. We can have an island here, like so. Perfect. And anything else? No, we just want to see if it works. Yeah, let's save it. Map saved successfully. Menu, new game, Karin's map. And we got a little preview of the level, which is cool. Let's give this a go. Select Karin's map. We got some text overlay here. Maybe move it up a little bit, but that's simple to fix. Otherwise, I think it's good. Can I declick? No. Go to main menu, load game. Oops, not load game. New game, Karin's map, yeah. Alright, so let's give this a try. Next way is starting in, ooh, hold on. What is this? Corn. Range, can't see. There's some overlapping here, alright. First criticism, but that's easy to fix. I can upgrade it, let's increase the damage. We got some worms going on, and hey, they got animation, that's cool. Got some more corn, maybe. Harvest, sell for 17.35. Oh crap. Oh well, we're gonna lose 2 health, unless I do harvest. And to make corn is simple. What's the difference between them? I don't know actually. Oh, there's a dying animation too. That's cool. And I just realized that if I click something outside this window, the game pauses or everything freezes. It doesn't say pause or anything, but I can see that there is unpause. So I can pause. That's good. Maybe a like grayed out zone or something that indicates in the big letters that it's actually paused. Alright, I can buy a tomato. Let's see what the tomato does. Damage 7, range 5. And it shoots bursts. Alright, that's cool. So it looks like there are also some stronger enemies, some sort of boss or super enemies. And it's the same sprite and everything, but health has been increased by a significant amount. It looks like the chilies are... maybe they are a bit overpowered. They do some burst damage. So let's upgrade one fully here. That one isn't doing much, so let's sell this and just put another chili here. I get a feeling that the chilies are very strong. Because they're like bursting. So to summarize, when it comes to the gameplay, I would have some sort of mouse over event, maybe gray out the buttons when you hover over them. It's a nice feedback for the player. I would also replace and change how the text is displayed, where it overlaps or something else is drawn over it. Allow the players to see the amount of upgrades for a specific tower and also some sort of hint about what the tower will do in this case before you buy it, like a tooltip or something. I will not only criticize, I will also like to give some credit, especially for how the tiles select what type of tile will be drawn depending on its neighbors. That is some really cool stuff. I also like the A-star pathfinding that's going on here. I saw that you had it in the tooltip or in the description of the game, so A-star, really nice. And when it comes to the graphics, it's got a nice pixel art feeling going. So yeah, I like the graphics. Other than that, I don't think I have much to say about the game. I'm far more interested in the code and how that is done. So let's dive into the code, shall we? Alright, let's take a look and see if I can find something to complain about in the code. Here, so crop defense, let's open it up. Here we have all the packages. We got crops, enemies, game states. That's a lot of game states. Alright. Let's just begin in the main class. I guess that's in here. Game frame, game screen, game, maybe. We got a unused suppress warning. We gotta get into that soon. Alright, so we have the game loop here. It looks almost identical to my game loop in the platformer game, which is good. It's a good game loop, so if it works, use it. And a game loop will not differ too much from another game loop if you're still using Java and Swing and no like OpenGL and stuff. The game loop needs to do something very specific, which is update the game regularly, and then you just set the type of FPS and UPS you want. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong here. Let's comment that out. I don't need to have that spamming in the console. So we have here the update game method that contains a switch. This switch as well, and I can tell you already that we have one minor improvement here to make the code more readable, and that is to use lambda expressions. So instead of this, where we have, in case it's credits, we update the credits and then we break. We can remove the break here, and then do something like this. And now this one is going to get errors because we're using it differently. And I'm just going to do it like this for all of them. And then we can remove the default one. So this looks cleaner. We don't need a default because if there is a game state that doesn't match here, we're not going to do anything, so we don't need it. And I think this looks much cleaner than this. There are far more lines here, so there's a small improvement to make it look a little bit cleaner. So this can be done for all switches, more or less. If there are multiple options, we're going to deal with it when we get to multiple options. But if there's one state, then you do one type of call. We can do it like this without any brackets or special cases. So yeah, this looks good. I'm not going to do it here. One is plenty enough. Start new game. All right, nothing special here. Load game. Yeah, nothing weird here that I can find right away. But we have one here that's also a minor thing. It's suppress warning unused. If I remove this, game frame is going to become yellow. The value of this of the field game frame is not being used. All right, so let's see where we might have that, or where it's here. Game frame equals new game frame. But since we're not using game frame anywhere else in the code and only using it on one place, we don't need to store it here. We can just, I'm just going to copy that line. We can remove it here and go where the arrow shows now. And then instead of storing this variable, we can just say game frame equals new game frame. Or even better, remove that completely and just say new game frame, because we don't need to use the game frame object anywhere else, because we're just setting it to be, I assume, the frame for our window. We have another unused. We can do the same here. We can just remove game, that one, and then we have game screen. We get game screen from it. We are using game screen, but this game screen is that game screen. It's not that game screen. So if I remove this and remove this dot set game screen, no errors, because the game screen we are using is the same one we get in here. We're not storing it. If we were to use this game screen elsewhere in this class, let's say we had a method down here and was using game screen, then we needed to store the game screen up here, but we don't. Boy. This is a bit messy in my opinion. Maybe this can be cleaned up. All right, so we have this if statement here. We have if it's play or if it's save game, and play is not null and play is unsaved changes is true, and play is not game over. We enter this bracket, and so on and so on. This looks a bit messy to me, especially this if statement. It's very long. What you can do is use switch, and the same applies here. So if it's play or save game, if any of these are true, then we exit. Otherwise, we continue down here and do all of that. And then we have, if it's save game, then we change it to play. And I think this looks cleaner, but that's of course up to each and every one. But let's just comment this section out. And let's give it a go and see if it works. Spoiler alert, I already tried it and it does work. So load game, load that one, load. And yeah. I just need to unpause. All right, cool. It's still working. Perfect. I think I found a redundant call here. I mean, these are all minor still. In an update here for our enemy, I noticed that there's one for if they are alive or is dying. And then, of course, you don't move the enemy if the enemy is dying. It's dying, it's staying still. I get that. But we could have just... let's see if this works. Let's just remove that. If it's alive, update. I mean, that's... Okay, we're gonna need one of those, obviously. That is alive. Then we update it. Well, if it's not alive, then why would we update it? I think we can remove that, but I'm gonna keep it. Now let's remove it. And then we can go into the update here and see. We have if alive, then the animation gets to be moved, else it's going to be the dying. But I don't think, yeah, there's only move and death animation. So we could just go with if alive, animation is move, else animation is death. If alive or dying, one of those will always be true, so no point in having them. And at the bottom here we can say if alive, then we go move. And we can change this to private, because I don't think we call move from anywhere else. And then we can go back to the enemy handler and if alive, we will also need to update the game or the enemy if e dot is dying. So even if it's alive, then we update. If it's dying, we also update. But if it's dying, we will never call the move in here. Can we do this simpler? No, I think that's good. Then for draw here, if alive or dying, okay, that one is one too many. If E is dying, then we draw that. We put brackets around it because it was the same check twice. If it's alive or dying, draw the enemy, but we only draw the health bar if the enemy is not dying. Yeah, I think that looks better, or looks cleaner. Let's run. Load game, load, unpause. Let's see. Animation, death, and health bar was shown. Yeah, that looks good. Let's actually dive into the ImageLoader class. And I'm 100% sure we can reduce a lot of code in here. Atlas load image loads. Huh? Oh, you're changing Atlas. Okay. Fair enough. So you have one for this one. This is another one. But a rule of thumb when it comes to coding, if the methods are similar or the code you're writing is very similar, like this is one section, this is another section, this is another section, and so on, you more or less can make this simplified because they're so similar. That's a cue, or that's a clue rather, not a cue. That's a clue that you can make this with less code. So let's see what I can come up with. Alright, so this was the look of the load button images before, and this is how it looks now. So we're doing the same, but instead of having it over and over, we just call the method and we give it a specific for that array. So map buttons, the map ID, I think, and then map buttons array. So yeah, this is, in my opinion, much cleaner. And now, instead of having to write all of this for maybe we want to add more buttons, all we do is create a new array, make sure that we have a image to get, and then of course the size for that button, and the array we need to return it to. So yeah, that looks clean. And down here we have a similar situation as above. We are creating a new atlas for each. It's a 1D array except for the last one, but the last one can just use this method. So yeah, that could also be simplified. Oh my god, do we have one more here? No. Wait, what? Oh, he's using different type of flip images y-axis. Let's take a look at that one. Yeah, you just return the image but flipped. But I wouldn't have done any of these. I would just have done the normal one and then checked two variables. First of all, is the enemy going to the left? Then just do this draw image flipped. So we have a similar situation in our platformer game. Let me bring it up. When we draw the crabs, we have, or draw the enemies actually. Let's make this easier on our eyes. Then we'll flip and null like that. All right. So this is not handling any boss enemies, but we are handling left side and right side direction for the enemy here. So we have a variable, or rather a method. If it needs to flip, then we're going to return with, otherwise we're going to return 0. So the default direction for the enemies are towards the left. So if it's walking to the right, we simply return with. And then for with, we time it by C flip W. So if it's walking to the right, then we just say with times -1. So we get the same effect, but we don't need to store any more sprites. We can just store the default one, and then when we need to go in a different direction, we just flip the image. So that's how I would have done it. Let's close these two ones down. What else? There's a lot of things in this class. It's actually rather big. We got 580 lines. I'm sure I can find more things in here to complain about and criticize. It's easy to criticize because, you know. Here is something else I discovered, and that is the projectiles. And I don't see a reason in his classes here. Why would we need subclasses for this? Because the only thing that's gonna be different from the kernel, the seed, and the pepper spray is the ID. So when we draw the projectiles, let's see here. Projectile handler, draw. If it's alive, then draw the projectile. And then we have ImageLoader, projectile sprite, p.get projectile type, and the color index. What if we just completely ignore those classes? Let's see if we can do this without using the seed, kernel, and pepper spray. And I just tried it with bypassing all the subclasses altogether. And as you can see, it's still running. Beautiful. So what I did was that, let's close this one down, continue. Here we had the old ones. We had one for kernel, seed, and projectiles, but you can see that it's very similar. And I think just like we did with the projectiles, I don't see a reason why we have subclasses for chili, corn, or tomato. They all have the same structure as the projectiles. There's nothing in here that's specifically unique to the tomato. All we need to do is to check the ID, and when we do draw it or update it, we're going to update it differently because of the ID, not the actual subclass. So you can do the same here for projectiles, but let's go back to our projectile handler here. So yeah, we could clearly just bypass all the subclasses for projectiles and just use one. And in here we set the projectile type. And the color index might be a problem later, further down the road, but I don't think so. And the same can be done for our enemies. So that's a improvement that's gonna save. First of all, you're gonna remove 3 classes, 6 classes, yeah. So 6 classes, then you can just change a little bit in the code, and you're gonna do something different depending on the projectile type. Because the projectile type ID is returning the image, so it doesn't matter if it's a class or just an ID, it's still going to return the correct image. I could probably spend hours upon hours more looking through the code and finding more things that could be changed and improved, but I don't think I'm gonna find anything that's major wrong or like big thing that needs to be solved. I found a couple of minor ones, such as this unused variable. This was one example. And then of course we had this mess of a if statement. The code is the same, but this one is easier to read and also add upon. When you have this long, this is one if statement, you could probably improve it. And since we have 2 game states here, we can just use a switch and switch between the game states, and then we check if anything is true, then we exit out of it. So yeah, that's another minor one. But the medium problems I found, or things that I would have improved, is to remove all of the projectile subclasses, such as where do we have it? Kernel, seed, and pepper spray. And then of course the same for our plants as well. I think we had, yeah, the plants are no different. Had there been a lot of code in here that's specific for the chili and specific for the corn, yes, then subclasses would have made sense, most likely. But they do not, so you could probably do the same concept here, remove the code for them and just focus on the ID of the plant. So then depending on the ID, then you draw a different plant and you shoot a different type of projectile. So ID would be the better way to go. I didn't check enemy. So enemy, we have, yeah, you can, you can do the same for enemies. 1 class, 2 class, 3, 6. So 6 classes can be removed here, I think. Is there more? Yeah, 6 classes for enemies, and then I know there's a crowbar or a boss enemy, and then depending on the direction, but yeah. I don't see any different here. It's path, ID, crow, enemy handler, path, ID, crow, enemy handler. Yeah, so it's the same, so you can just use ID here as well. And for drawing, depending on left side, right side, scaled up or scaled down, just use ID and apply the difference for the drawing method. So yeah, a lot of classes can be removed. That's like a medium level of importance to change. Other than that, it's really cool to see someone making a game out of a tutorial that I have made. And it's not just a copy-paste, it's actually implementing just parts of it and then adding his own code to it, such as, for example, a star and mechanics behind different type of tiles depending on the neighboring tiles, which is sweet. That's really cool to see. But yeah, I am impressed, obviously. This is a really good job. The game, I tried to make it, I tried to break it, but I couldn't. Maybe if I keep going at it, I might find something to break, and that is always interesting. But other than that, it's impressive. Good job. And if you are watching, want to try the game, I will leave a link in the description below to GitHub, and then you can just import it into your own Eclipse and give it a try. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you in the next video as well. And as always, have a great day. Bye.